It's January 2025. You get sworn in. You're the new president of the United States. What is top of the list in terms of the things that you want to express or get done?
Let me start with the most important, which is how I will lead. And I'm going to lead very differently. I'm going to have a team of rivals in the White House, Andrew, not unlike Abraham Lincoln put together in the 1860s during the worst crisis in American history to that point, the Civil War. He recognized that every American had to have their voice inside the White House. He needed to put people at that table who had different perspectives, but had to lead the country together. And I think it's time for every single future president of the United States to ensure that he or she does not just populate the White House staff and cabinet with people who all see things the same way. I think that's actually destructive to democracy, and it is destroying the country. That's one. I'll also have a youth cabinet. It's time to bring young people's voices into the White House, a delegate from every one of the 50 states, all races, religions, colors, backgrounds, and politics and geographies, to come up with great ideas about social media regulation, about the future of AI, both the blessings and the curses, climate change, gun violence prevention, the things that young people are most focused on for good reason and have great ideas about. I'm going to employ zero-based budgeting. I'm going to finally have every single agency of the United States federal government assessed by an outside consulting firm to identify ways to save money, deliver services better, more efficiently and effectively. And finally, the Pentagon will pass an audit. These are absolutes as the next leader. I'd have the most experience, Andrew, strangely enough, of any recent president, having built and led companies, having served as the board chair of a large health system, a regent at a university, board chair of a charitable foundation, a board member of a public company, and now 3 terms in the United States Congress, a member of House Democratic leadership, ranking member of the Middle East Subcommittee on Foreign Affairs, and also the vice-ranking member of the Small Business Committee. I have very broad experience. And I will use that management experience, which very few occupants of the White House have had, to lead better. And most of all, to develop common ground. If we do not repair the country, use common sense and decency and restore faith in government, nothing I talk about right now is going to matter. So what's next? Affordability, affordability, and affordability. There is a massive disconnect between Washington and the rest of the country. It's staggering how desperate people are right now. Housing, if you can even find it, is unaffordable. Mortgage rates have soared. People cannot afford to buy new homes. We are 6.5 million units shy to meet the demand in the United States. And we have about 500,000 human beings, Americans, sleeping outside every single night. Not just New York and San Francisco, up here in Manchester, New Hampshire. Veterans sleeping in the parks. It's atrocious, and we have to do a 7 million unit initiative immediately to produce housing in America. Healthcare. 66% of all bankruptcies in the United States are from medical debt. From medical debt in the United States of America, we spend twice as much as any developed nation in the world. Our outcomes are mid-pack. We allow, and I state that again, we allow pharmaceutical companies to sell their products in the United States for 3, 4, 5 times more than anywhere in the world. When I'm president, we will find a way, working together, to ensure that none of those companies can sell their products here for a penny more than they do in Canada, Mexico, Great Britain, France, or Japan, or Australia. Period. It's not that hard. And we're going to change the delivery model from a fee for service to a capitation model. So we actually get away from what is really a sick care system. We don't have health care. It's a sick care system. So that's health care. And then we have education. $1.7 trillion in student debt at 5% interest. That's about 80-some billion dollars a year. That's burdening families and young people who can barely get ahead. And we need tuition-free college. We also need to make sure that the debt that exists right now, I believe, should be interest-free. And we should absolve the debt of any person who is willing to develop their credentials or career in something that serves the public. So these are common sense solutions. And then groceries. Andrew, I come from the vodka business. When I was in that business, retailers were not allowed, legally, could not charge us what they call slotting fees. Those are the prices you pay to rent the shelf to put your products on the shelf. But in the grocery business, when I was in the ice cream business, not only can they charge you, all the grocery chains around the country are charging rent to the bread makers and the butter makers and the cereal makers to put your products on the shelf. So why do we have high grocery prices? Of course, it's obvious. We have too little competition, and we have a system not unlike the political industrial complex, the duopoly, that is literally making things more expensive than necessary. So if we don't address these things and we don't raise the foundation, we are going to be in big trouble. And by the way, I know you are a big fan of UBI. I'm looking at a bill right now that would do a pilot around the country, because I think AI is going to almost require that we completely change the lens of US capitalism if we hope to remain a democracy for many, many years to come. So those things are on my mind. Border security is on my mind. Chaos in our cities is on my mind. And probably most importantly, if we do not become a country that ensures security for every American and peace and prosperity in the United States and overseas, we are not doing our jobs. And I'm just afraid the current generation of leaders, from the West Bank all the way to the West Wing, have got to be replaced with next generation leaders who understand what's coming, who have a different worldview, different competencies, and most of all, are ready to work together to solve problems, stop fighting each other, and start fighting for each other. That's my agenda. It's not rocket science, it's entirely common sense.
Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. Please do hit like and subscribe, and hit that bell if you want to be notified every time a new episode drops. Thank you.